All right, in part 3 of Unit 11, we're going to be talking about, yes, you guessed it, those famous ones from the John Green videos, the Mongols. We'll also talk a little bit more about China, and mainly we're going to talk about the Mongols, of course, and then the Ottoman Turks and the impact that they had on Europe and pretty much the world during their time period. So those are the main focuses of this video. Hope you enjoy.
Okay, this is Unit 11, Part 3. We're going to be talking about the Mongols and the Ottomans. All right, the student will demonstrate knowledge. This is your SOL, and we're going to talk about how the Mongol and the Ottoman conflicts played a role on Europe, and also the fact that it sort of kept alive, again, the ideas of the Greek, Roman, and Arabic philosophies. Okay, so first I want to revisit China and talk about the Sui dynasty and the Tang dynasty. The Sui builds the oldest and longest canal called the Grand Canal, and the Tang expands the empire and makes contacts with India and Muslims. Both Confucianism and Taoism are prevalent during the Tang dynasties, but it's during this time that Empress Wu will help Buddhism become more popular. And with a type of Buddhism called Zen Buddhism, it stresses meditation. And this is Empress Wu, and then eventually that will spread to all types of, to all countries in Southeast Asia, with Zen being that. And of course, if you have meditation, you know you got to be quiet.
Be very quiet. I'm hunting rabbit.
Yeah, you gotta be quiet when you're meditating. Okay, it is also during the Sung Dynasty, which never controlled all of China and improved the civil service system, that you're going to have the inventions of gunpowder, the movable type. The first printed book will be the Diamond Sutra using a printing press, hundreds of years before Europe and Gutenberg. It's also during this era that the practice of foot binding starts, and it was sort of like a sign of your husband's wealth to have your feet bound. And basically what they do is they break your toes underneath and then they tie it until it grows into this little stub foot. And if you look here, you can see that it was a sign of beauty and a sign of your husband's wealth and power that you could have your feet broken. I don't know if that's a good deal or not, ladies. Okay, but here are the main things that we want to talk about, and that is the Mongols. The first thing is that the Mongols mounted soldiers, which have an amazing cavalry and the ability to shoot their recurved bows off of these horses, will invade Russia, China, and all through the Middle East and Southeast Asia. They'll destroy cities and the countryside, and they will create an empire more vast than Alexander the Great or anyone else up till that time period. As you can see, pretty much India, China, Russia, the Middle East, and there are some amazing facts and some amazing accomplishments by the Mongols. For example, their protection of the Silk Road brings it back. No one dared to challenge them. And they really don't have a fixed empire or great buildings, but at the same time a very successful empire. And we'll talk about this more after we watch the John Green video on the Mongols.
China enjoyed years of peace and prosperity. Europe, meanwhile, was plundered by the nomadic hordes China had turned away. But after the Han Dynasty ended in AD 220, their Great Wall was largely neglected and fell into ruins. The northern nomads continued to threaten China for centuries. In the 13th century, one fierce warrior from the Mongol tribe united all the nomadic tribes, becoming the first king of all the nomads. His name was Temujin, but he answered to the name Genghis Khan. Legend has it that the Mongol army could ride for days without dismounting. When food ran low, they sucked the blood of their horses. Genghis Khan inspired such terror, cities would surrender without fighting. One summer, when the dried-up river valleys made it easy for horses to cross the Chinese plains, Genghis Khan made his move. A Mongol army of 100,000 warriors invaded the Chinese capital, present-day Beijing. After a long battle, Genghis Khan finally captured the fort, Zhongguan. The nomads now ruled most of China. By 1279, all of China was under Mongol control. One of Genghis Khan's successors, his grandson Kublai Khan, ruled the largest empire the world has ever known. It stretched from China to the borders of Europe. He had no need for a Great Wall, because he controlled it all. The harsh Mongol rule in China ultimately triggered a popular revolt. The Mongols were overthrown and replaced in 1368 by a new Chinese dynasty, the Ming.
Okay, so what do you need to know about the Mongols? The Mongols were nomadic horsemen from East and Central Asia. Their most famous ruler is a guy named Genghis Khan, better known as Temujin. His name actually means universal ruler. And you know that he was a fierce dude when he has the pointy helmet. You see the pointy helmet, you need to run away, right? Okay, so again, universal ruler is what his name means. And that was the thing. Even though you tried, there was really nowhere to run from the Mongols. They take over the world. All right, by 1215, he had conquered most of China, and he had done just some remarkable things. Now, his grandsons are actually going to extend this empire in power. Now, through the Mongols, they're going to create the Yuan dynasty to rule over China. His grandson Kublai Khan will rule China until 1294. He conquered most of it. He made only Mongols his top officials. And it was during this time that he had contact with the Italian trader Marco Polo, who visited from China. In 1368, the Mongols are finally going to be overthrown and run out of China, but it takes till then for that to happen. All right, Batu Khan was the other grandson of Genghis Khan, and he led an army that was known as the Golden Horde, and they will conquer Russia and Baghdad, and it will not be until Ivans the third and fourth to run them out. And they were named after their tent color. That's where the idea Golden Horde came from, the color of their tents. Okay, so in the box below, after watching the video, and if you get a chance to watch John Green, I would like for you to analyze why the Mongols broke the norm for other empires, and explain how their armies impacted Europe. Okay, the last group that we need to talk about is the Ottoman Turks. Again, a Middle Eastern conquering group. They conquered the Byzantine Empire, and their effects were tremendous. Eastern Europe will basically fall to them. The Greeks, Macedonia, all of those countries will fall to the Ottoman invasion. And one of the biggest impacts is, of course, that they will take over Constantinople. In 1453, they will defeat the city. They will end the Byzantine Empire. They'll change the Hagia Sophia into a mosque because they will adopt Islam when they come to the Middle East. And so the Ottomans have a tremendous impact on spreading Islam into Eastern Europe, which is very, very important too, and will cause issues later on. And of course, Constantinople will then become the Ottoman Empire's capital, and its name will get changed to Istanbul, and it will become their capital city. All right, in the box below, evaluate the impact of the Ottoman invasions and what it had on Eastern Europe. Okay, so the big ideas of this video is the Mongols invaded Russia, Southwest Asia, and China, creating a vast empire. The Ottoman Turks conquered the Byzantine Empire and into Eastern Europe.